Welcome to the 4th ASEAN EU Cooperation and Scholarship Day. You are now in the reception area. Here is the list of events we have prepared for you. Click on the schedule button to get a reminder on your phone or devices. Just dropping in to see what's on? Find this little red button to see which event is currently live and just join the fun. Take the time to explore the expo area and see what have been prepared for you. Here on the booth panel, you can have a one-on-one Q&A session with our exhibitors. Download all the information that interests you, join workshops and sessions, or try out the games. Each session also has its own booth panel for you to interact with the speakers. To have a conversation with an expo representative, click Share Video and Audio. The booth moderator will allow you to have a conversation with them. Have something to say? Head on over to the Voice of Youth booth. Pick your virtual background and overlay and say it with a photo or video. Don't forget to follow and tag at EU in ASEAN when you post it on social media. You might be the lucky winner to get a special hamper from the EU. We're so excited to have you here. And we wish you the
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 4th ASEAN EU Cooperation and Scholarship Day 2021. I am Miyabi Koki. I'll be your moderator for this session. This session is going to be about emerging data scientists. Very interesting topic. And in preparing for this session, it got me thinking about how much data I myself generate on a daily or a weekly basis. And it feels like it's a lot. But in 2018, the world generated 33 zettabytes of data globally. And in 2025, that number is expected to reach 175 zettabytes per year. 175 zettabytes. Now, to put that in context, 1 zettabyte is 1 trillion gigabytes. So for those of you who have a 1 gigabyte hard drive in your computer, think about that times 1 billion. It's a stupid amount of data. So massive. And with that much data being generated on a daily basis, it feels like we are sort of entering the wild, wild west of data science. And we're going to need a lot of data wranglers to make sense of this all. So it's no wonder the field of data science is gaining traction and gaining popularity. So I think this is something which is interesting and important, and it's something that we're going to dig into during this session. Obviously, I am not alone. I am joined by a couple of guests for this session. First of all, we have Dr. Jenny Elmaco with an MBA in Big Data and Business Intelligence from EAE Business School in Madrid. She's also Vice Chair for Asia Pacific for Inventors and Innovators Network and a recipient of the Marie Curie. Good afternoon, Dr. Jenny. Thank you for being with us.
A pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Also with us today is Yin Mazatin, who was the national champion for the ASEAN Data Science Explorers in 2018. Hello to you, Yin.
Yep. Hello, maybe.
Yeah. So do I call you Yin or Zatin? Which do you prefer here?
I like you to call me Zatin instead.
Zatin. Okay. So I'll call you Zatin. We have another guest here today, Ms. Philomene Robin from Campus France, who will share with us the education pathway to becoming a data scientist. I hope I got your name right. Is it Philomene?
You're doing perfect.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much for your time and thank you for being here. Okay, so before we jump into this discussion, I would like to remind the audience that this is an interactive session, meaning if you have any questions anytime during the session, you can feel free to drop them in our chat box, and we'll call on you to ask your questions directly to our speakers during the Q&A segment, which I will notify you about once we get there. So without further ado, let's jump in. This is going to be an interesting conversation. I have a couple of questions here. My first question would be directed at you, Zatin. When you participated in the ASEAN Data Science Explorer, your winning project was called Bridging the Youth with Industry Revolution 4.0. Could you tell us what that was like? Was it your first time working with big data?
Yep. Okay. Thank you, maybe, and good afternoon again, everyone. Yes. Actually, I was a participant in ADSE 2019, and when I joined the ADSE 2019, the ADSE did not support only us in terms of SAP Cloud Analytics tool, but it also support us a big amount of data, which means that they provide a lot of data for us to choose and select to address the real issues in the society. So ADSE is a good program for us, how we can use the SAP Cloud Analytic tool and how we use our logical thinking to represent and interpret those data visualization into a proposal solution to address the real issues in the society. So yes, I think that that was the first time for me to work as data analytics in terms of making it successfully.
Okay, very interesting. So when I hear big data, it's a very sexy name, but it's also kind of intimidating because it covers so much. It's so broad. I was wondering, how did you get into data science, and how has the experience changed your thoughts about data science in general, before and after?
Um, Thank you, maybe. I think that when we speak about the data science, as you already mentioned, every day there's a huge amount of data uploaded to the cloud. So data science probably one of the most sexy job that it is really trending. However, when we talk about data science, most of the new generation, especially the judge, they might think that data science is a more difficult subject to understand, and especially they might relate the data science to the coding. So I think that it is not much that it is about how we use the data set and data visualizations to find the proposal solution. So data science is not about coding that we usually heard to study about all programming, Python programming and all. But the basic skill like data preparation, data migrations, and analytic of data to propose a better solutions are the things that the new generation should be capable of.
Very nice. Thank you so much for that. Um, a second question would be for Dr. Jenny. So, Dr. Jen, I'd like to know, or like the audience to know, a little bit about your experience working with data and with data science from your perspective.
Okay, thank you so much, and good afternoon to everyone. So I've came into data science a little bit late in the game. I did my PhD and then I did my MBA, and decided to have a concentration in big data and business intelligence. The reason for this is I think data is the most important currency that we have in the world. And I think this brings with it a lot of implications. For me, I started off as a social scientist, a political scientist. I dealt with international development projects, and the data is very, very important. So I've used data, especially the analysis of data, in making decisions in, let's say, grants, in choosing programs in the localities, or even on an international level. So I've done several projects on gender and women's empowerment, also in human rights, and also disaster risk management, and using the data coming from the communities, and also coming from the funders and the international community as well, to make the right decisions and the kind of intervention that we're going to have. So one of the examples with that is we had, for example, in the Philippines, there's a Magna Carta of women, which is a comprehensive law to address the concerns of women. And we did an app for that. We called like all of these very, very inventive, very innovative young people, brought them together, made them read the law, and then told them, with this in mind, with the objectives and the goals of the law in mind, what kind of interventions can we do, but using technology. And then apart from that, we also had a hack for her, where we asked the local government units to share to us the gender issues, and then from there we asked we asked again, the young people, it's always the young people who has the energy for this, to come together and then, propose solutions to this. So there's a lot of things that you can do with data. But I mean, data is always, especially data science, is there's no one definition for it. There's no there's a lot of definitions for it. But I like what the head of decision intelligence of Google said about it. I think her name is Cassie Kazirkov, if I'm not mistaken. So she said, data science is the discipline of making data useful, and that is where we have to concentrate our efforts on.
True. Thank you so much for that. I think you raised some really interesting points about the gender gap that exists in data science. It is unfortunate, but it's something which we do have to work on to rectify and to make better. I also think what you mean when you say like implementing the data, how you use the findings from that data and to make the real world solutions. That's also a very important aspect of data science. To quote Spider-Man, you say knowledge is power, but with great power comes great responsibility. There's another
Absolutely.
issue. Yeah, there's another issue which I hear a lot about in data science, which is related to the human aspects of the analysis, the biases that are in the data itself or in the people analyzing the data. How do you address these issues in your practice?
I think it's very important that you involve society or stakeholders. It has to be a multi-stakeholder effort when you try to do a project, or when you try to decide on an intervention for the society. So even from the design, like even before implementing it, even the design, you have to include them and have conversations, whether this is online and offline. I think we have to recognize as well that while we are doing this virtually, a lot of the population is still off the grid, or without the internet. So we have to have this marriage, if you could call it that, between the traditional modes of communication and also like the technology that we have, and then make sure that this gel well together. So we have to consider that. At the same time, what we do, for example, with projects that is in the community, is to have a analysis, for example, a gender analysis. Before you do something in the community, there has to be this respect, for example, for indigenous people, and also taking note at vulnerable groups in the community. So I think it's a responsibility of the person planning to do a project or planning to do even a business, to make sure that the community is involved. And then by then the biases will hopefully be eradicated. Okay, so but it's the data is still limited when it comes to, and I think this is the reason why in data science and moving forward to the future of data science, we have to look at diversity and inclusion in data science, especially if artificial intelligence is concerned. So now there's a talk about quantum computing, and so even data scientists have to upgrade their skills now because of the quantum computing, and then of course you have machine learning. So it's very important that even at this time we are sensitive to these issues, and also checking ourselves when we do these projects and when we do these businesses in the community.
True that. So it sounds like it requires quite a bit of sensitivity to a lot of different aspects that you have to juggle and be aware of in order to make the best use of this data that you have. Okay, thank you so much for that, Dr. Jenny. I would like to ask a question to Philomene Robin. Hope I'm still getting that name right, Philomene. So I'm excited. I've heard about data science. I've heard about what goes into it, and it sounds very broad. It sounds like there are a lot of aspects to it, a lot of places where me as someone looking to get into the industry could start from. I was wondering if you could describe some of the educational pathway towards becoming a data scientist. Like what do I need to do? Where do I start? I think your mic is on mute, Philomene.
See, I'm going to talk about data science and I don't know how to use my mic. So good afternoon, everyone. As you just said, thank you for inviting 2 women out of 3 people. So
Yes.
we're doing quite good today.
Action.
I'm not a data scientist myself, actually, but as you just said, it's quite sexy right now to be a data scientist. So the first thing you need to do is to really clarify what you want to do, because it's not the same thing as being a data analyst, a data engineer, or a data scientist. It's not at all the same education pathway. A data analyst would be more on the business and marketing side, social sciences side, just doing some analysis of numeric data, and you help your company to make better decisions. So this is really decision-making field. And on the academic field, it's less demanding than being a data engineer or a data scientist. Next step would be data engineer. This one is much more on the computer science side, network and architecture. And the third one, data scientist. This one, you need a very, very strong academic record starting from high school. Then you enter into a BA. Your BA could be in math, in computer science, statistics, also social sciences or physical sciences, but again, you need to be very good at math, algebra, and calculus. And not everyone is so good in these fields. And you said it was an interactive session, but I would be very much interested in what Xin Yin said. He said it was not so much about programming as about analyzing data. But I do think if you take the mainstream education pathway, you're quite expected to be able to master at least Python and or R and or SQL. But this is about the very educated, how would I say, very official mainstream pathway. So you do your BA, then you apply to Master 2. You do your first year of Master, Computer Science, Statistics. Again, you do a lot of math. And then in the second year, you start doing some machine learning and real data science. So you have to wait for 5 years, and you have to go to be excellent all 5 years long. And you need some additional skills that you do as your hobby when you go home. Actually, it's extremely demanding. But the good thing is there is a very short supply of qualified data scientists and a very, very strong demand on the business. So actually, you got yourself a job. And if you're good at math and highly motivated, then you can find some online courses. Like in France, we've got datascientist.com, datatechinstitute.com, and these are quite affordable. But they just require you to be passionate about it and to spend your nights learning it.
Okay. Well, I'm not scared. I'm going straight for data scientist. I'm not good at math or algebra, but I am curious. I got curiosity for data, and I'm passionate. Okay, so that's interesting. So you can be a data analyst, you could be a data engineer, you could be a data scientist. So it sounds like there is room for specialization in this field. Is that as far as it goes, or are there other subcategories of specializations within those categories that you just mentioned?
You would specialize, definitely. You could get specialized either by your, how would I say, your applied field, like you want to specialize in health, in environment, in whatever. Actually, I think you could specialize in any field of the, not only the industry, but public and private action today. But you could also specialize by the software or language you are using, and you could specialize in supervised learning, in unsupervised learning, in both. That's a very, very huge field. But to be honest, I don't think you can really be a data scientist if you don't wait for at least 5 years before getting specialized.
All right.
And the mainstream path is you have to do a lot of statistics.
Okay. So
no matter how strongly you want to save the environment, you're no way to escape it.
Have to put in the work. Okay, we'll put in the work. One thing we've not mentioned is arts. I've seen big data science used to create art. Is that something that's also a possible path? to
It's
become an artist using
it is, but I don't think you could qualify as a data scientist. It means that you are using some softwares,
Okay.
but I don't think you can you do actually master the all probabilities and the, how would I say, the power of the software you're using, and you're not using it as a data scientist. You're using it as an artist.
Okay, understood. I think that's important to outline, you know, what the field actually is, so that people don't get caught up in the sex appeal of the field and think that it's something that anyone can just get into. You do need
Definitely
some
not.
personality traits, some talents, specified talents to get into the field and excel. Okay,
You really
interesting.
need to clarify what you want to do, what are your interests, and I think you can easily go on the internet and there's a lot of videos about it. And if you get into depth, you will very soon understand whether it's for you or not.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. That's very explanatory. I would like to ask another question to Zatin.
Yep.
On the
Hello.
topic of specialization. So you mentioned that you don't. It's not only about the technical aspects. It's not just about programming. It's also about the social aspects, about what you're trying to do with it, and a whole host of other aspects to understand. But do you yourself have a specialization, or is there an aspect of data science that interests you more, or you feel that you are more an expert in?
Okay, thank you. Maybe I think that when we talk about data science, it is more general approach. As Ms. Robin has mentioned it, data in data science, it might include some specific skill that it is related to the data engineer, data analyst. Those are the specific, I can say, a small part that the data scientists have to understand and capable of handle the skill as well. But the moment when we say about data science, it's not about coding at all. This is what I'm trying to mention. And I highly encourage the new generations, especially the youth in Asian, to try to understand more about the data. Because when we talk about data science, we need to interpret, clarify what we are going to that or to do with that data, how we use that data to improve our decision making or propose any solution for the social addressing the social issues. This is what I'm trying to mean. Yep. So no matter how what field that you are going to work as a civil engineer, architecture, and so on. Those are the data that you are going to work. And the specific skill that you have to understand and capable of handle is starting by from data preparations, data migrations, and doing the data visualization to improve your decision making and yes, propose any solution better with the number or data. Why? Because number don't lie. That's all from my side.
Okay, you said a couple of things there. His lips are moving, but there was no sound. Okay, I think you're back, but your mic is on mute.
Yep, I think that's all from my side. Maybe. I'm
Okay,
sorry if I
okay, well,
spelled your
thank you
name
for that.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit. So speaking more about the applications, the real world applications of data science and big data analysis, can you talk about any case studies that you have that you think are interesting, or your thoughts about possible future applications of data science that we are starting to become a thing or that we haven't seen yet? Where could this go? What's the fringe of it?
Mm, Maybe may you clarify your question again, please?
I was wondering whether you have, from your experience, any interesting case studies that demonstrate the power of data science in where the importance of data science can really come through.
Okay. It started from my storyboard that I proposed it when I joined the ADSA 2019, which the title is Bridging the Gap with the Industry 4.0. So the first thing that we have to understand is we have to what is the problem that we are going to solve, and and what is the proposed solution that we are going to provide. So data is just a bridge that we have to use it as a reference in our statement to propose that solution. So my recommendation to all the new generation is before we make any important decision making or propose it any solution, I highly encourage all the new generation to reference your data as much as you can, because the number is very important for us to analyze. Without data, we cannot interpret or what should I call improve better decision making. This is yeah, I'm sorry if I answer you that wrong a wrong question.
No. I get it. I get it. Well, thank you for that answer. Another question for Philomene, Robin, more about the programs that you have on offer for data scientists. Can you outline a few programs, or did you already outline all of them, from science, analysis, and
Well, I
engineering?
definitely. So you've got three main institutions. Either you will go to the university, as I said, you start with a BA, you carry on with a master degree, or you go to a business school. One obvious field of for data science is financial data science, how to make the best decisions starting from complex data, how to invest in, where to invest in. And this would be in business school. Or you could also go to engineering school. And most of them now would specialize in health or environment. For instance, when you have a complex health problem and you don't know how to cure the people, you can collect a huge number of data, of science data, health data, scientific data, and you just, by complex data processing, by supervised and supervised machine learning, then you come up with a huge number of solutions, and you can double cross them with what you learn from the more social science field. So this is a very, very basic explanation. I think a data scientist will use some more complex words, but basically that's what you do. You just use the power of math to use a machine which is going to go through a huge number of solutions, and then you can refine them until you find a good one, or at least the best one.
Okay, but it's
Very
still only
basic explanation. I think Dr. Jenny would be able to elaborate, and Zaitin as well. And this one, you could do it in engineering school or in university, and then you move up to PhD, of course. 88% of data scientists have got a master degree, but 46 of them have got a PhD, which is quite a huge number for a very specific job. And then, which is quite interesting to know, in most countries, it's quite easy to find a funding if you are doing a data science PhD, because companies they really cannot find as many data scientists as they need. So they would be more than happy to hire you, to have a research collaboration between you, your graduate school, and their company. And of course, they're looking at hiring you, or at least keeping the results of your research. And again, this is I work for the French embassy, so of course I'm quite official and quite institutional. But there are a fair share of data scientists who actually learn by themselves. They were working in a company, they started specializing in data analysis, and then they went up the ladder.
Okay.
So there is some hope if you already left university. And as I said, you can easily find some data tech institute, online data tech institute. Be cautious, because as it's sexy now, everyone wants you to buy their training program, but not everyone is really training you. But if you
Okay.
choose the right institution, you could be a social scientist and then manage to become a data scientist. You would just be the 0.1% data scientist who managed to do so.
Okay, so perhaps it's not too late for me. I have all that passion I spoke about.
But you can start with
Absolutely not.
data today.
Okay, thank you for that. Dr. Jen, another question for you. Um,
Yes.
so clearly, I'm going to become a data scientist. Uh,
Yes, you will. Yes,
yeah.
you are.
So from your experience and looking further into the future, what do you think the
Mm.
role of data scientists are going to be in the future? Is every company going to have its own in-house data scientists? Are we already kind of data scientists in a way, processing our own data, our own online shops and things? What is the future of data science?
I think we're both producers of data and consumers of data at the same time. And every single day, every time we click, we use our cell phones, all these gadgets. We are, part already of the data that we produce and we consume. And so, in a way, I would say that we are data scientists. And, data science is a very multidisciplinary field. And so, even if your background is on uh, the humanities, or I don't know if I'm the one typing, or so, and the like with the social sciences, for example. Even if you took the social, if you had like social sciences, I think you can become a data scientist. And yeah, I mean, I want to go back before I answer that. I want to go back to what you said on data science is an art. I totally believe that data science is an art. I think there's an expert in data analytics who wrote in Elsevier. I think her name is Jabe Wilson. I have to check on this because I always forget names. But anyway, this person said that uh, computer programming or data science is an art because it applies accumulated knowledge to the world, and because it requires skill and ingenuity, but most importantly, because it produces objects of beauty. And I like that because I think it's in the world, we especially at this time of COVID, we need a lot of beauty in the world. So the future of data science, I hope, is geared towards finding solutions to common problems that we have. Of course, the virus is number one. Maybe even finding humanitarian hotspots in the city, for example. Identifying hotbeds of street harassment. Let's say, like, very simple, but very, very, very much needed, or maybe to channel volunteering activity. I think that the role of data science is on that. On the other hand, it could also be predicting trends. I have a favorite futurist. Her name is Faith Popcorn. You can Google her. She has predicted, first of all, economics. So this is, she says it, the economics is basically, there is, because of tech and science, it enables DNA specificity of your biodata, which will be analyzed to allow, let's say, robo doctors to tweak our medications. That's already starting to a certain extent. The baristas will not only know how we like our coffee, but also if we need an extra dose of vitamins in the morning, things like this. So, or like 3D printing, where, when you think of an item, you can actually, create the item there. I think that's a lot to do with data science. And also, she talked about cocooning, because of our need to protect ourselves, from the harms of the outside world, and the unpredictable realities there. So we are cocooning. We are, going back into the homes. And so data science needs, you need that a lot of information, and then to make sense of that information, to find like a world where you are craving for a simpler, less stressed lifestyle, but you also are still connected, and that the kind of comfort that will allow you to live. So that's a lot of things. I mean, data science is moving forward. I like the concept of technological singularity, for example, where if I want to learn French, I can just download it to my brain, and then isn't that wonderful, Philemon? I would
That-
love to do that. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of endless possibilities.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to think about, and like technology, just like fire, it could be great or it could be scary.
And you know
But
what? You know what? I mentioned it to you when we did our practice, and I want to share it to those who are with us. Data science has been used to together with artificial intelligence to merge math and music. And you have the creations of Beethoven and Bach being re-engineered and deconstructed, if you would could call it that, to have like a new piece of music that is reflective of the time, but also it's also reflective of the expressions of both the technology and also of humanity. So I think that's beautiful. So that's another data science there.
that's great. Thank you so much for that. Well, unfortunately, I mean, I could go on for days, but seems like we've run out of time. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to get to the Q&A, although there were some really interesting questions here. But if you want to keep this conversation going, you can still find Dr. Jenny at the Raxis booth if you want to ask her questions. You can also visit the Campus France, both to learn the Campus France booth to learn more about available scholarship programs. We also invite you to visit the Voice of Youth booth. Share your thoughts with us, tag us, EU in ASEAN, that's EUIN ASEAN, on your social media channels. The best photo and comments might just get a hamper from us. You never know. Go for it. So thank you, Dr. Jenny, Yin, and Philomene for your time and your invaluable insight today. I hope everybody watching will be inspired to delve into this world of data science. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.